Guys, welcome to another episode of The Pulse. Cool people doing interesting things. And that applies here, but it's a little bit different. Going into Women's History Month and talking about and sharing stories, there were a bunch of my coworkers who were like, you have to get Ginny Priem in. And part of the reason was because you're all of those things. You're an accomplished author and podcaster and millions of views and speaker, life coach, all those things. But your life, if it's not yet, is likely to be a movie at some point. So thank you for coming in and spending some time with us.
I'm so happy to be here.
Do you hear that a lot? That this should be made into a movie?
Well, Bill, from your lips to the right person's ears, I would love for my story to be made into a movie.
So we're going to jump right into it and talk about the story that should be made into a movie. But help us figure out how we kind of got here. So what's your background in getting to this point?
So I had over 20 years of corporate leadership experience. I had the fancy job. I was traveling all the time for work and also traveling a lot for fun, which I loved. Okay. And I was just living my best single life. I had my 2 dogs that I would spend most of my free time with, or my friends. And then I was introduced to Chad, as I call him. And
protecting the names of the not so innocent.
So the name change is not to protect him. It's actually to protect 2 other people that are part of this story. And we'll get to that. Okay. So I meet Chad, and I was not interested for 2 reasons. Number one, because I just explained how good my life was, so why mess with a good thing? And he had 2 kids. Okay. And that is why I changed names, was for their protection when I shared this story. Okay. And eventually he kind of broke down the walls. I'd crack the door open a little bit and he'd slide in. And eventually I fell in love. And I met those kids and I fell in love 2 more times.
Not looking for love, no plan for this. Life is going very well. And you just meet this person and you guys over time kind of clicked.
Yes.
Okay, so things are going well.
Life is good.
All right. Until it's not.
Until one day I'm traveling home from a work trip in Birmingham, Alabama. And this is almost 18 months, almost a year and a half into the relationship. And he and his kids are living with me at that point. Obviously, shared custody. They go back and forth with their mom, who's amazing, and then us. So they were on a Tuesday night at our house, and a friend wanted to urgently meet for cocktails on a Tuesday night at 10 p.m.
Okay.
So all day,
no warning, no reason why. This friend is like, let's catch up.
No details. I was like, is everything okay? And she just said, it will be. So all day, like, my mind is reeling. I'm going, what is going on with her that is so important? Because this was not a 10 p.m. Tuesday night cocktail kind of friendship.
Right. Okay.
And I just had all these things going through my mind, like, is somebody sick? You know, what's happening, and how do I show up and be a good, supportive friend?
Right. My friend needs me.
Yes.
Okay.
And when I walk in, she's got an empty drink and a stack of papers in front of her. And I said to her, I said, I've been worried about you all day. And she said, it's not about me. It's about you. It's actually about Chad. And proceeded to display this arrangement of evidence about the man that was at home in my house.
So you had been together long enough, families involved, kids involved, that you were pretty comfortable that you knew this person.
I thought I did.
You thought you did. So when they come and spread out like this, all of this evidence of what? You know, like this, and what do you do when they're like, okay, this is about your significant other and or their family?
Well, you order a really big glass of wine. Step one. But then you hear it, right? You have to hear the information. And for me, I'm a very evidence-based decision maker. So I need to have facts. I don't tend to make emotional decisions. And so I took the information, I went home and I had a conversation with him, denied, and in hindsight, now I realize he gaslit me, he manipulated me, all of these, buzzwords that we hear, but in real life application, I realized that I had been enduring them throughout the span of the relationship. And the next morning, I was able to verify some of the evidence that was in those papers. And that was all I needed, was to, if I knew one of the things was true, it was probably all true.
Now and you're my favorite. That's this book that you wrote. And that kind of details this story. So I guess we don't want to give all of the details of the book because we would like people to grab the book and check it out. But what can you tell us about what you are hit with at this 10 o'clock having cocktails and stack of evidence? Generally speaking, Chad's living a double life.
Yes.
Okay.
So, let me tell you, Bill, the book wasn't even ready to go to publication. I learned so much more since then. I'm talking hundreds of women. So
Chad had other people.
Yes.
Okay, so he was seeing other people, in relationships with other people?
Seeing them. Some of them thought that they were in long-term relationships with him. Meanwhile, he's living in my house. They had never met his children. Just a lot of things. He was on some fetish websites, seeking arrangements websites. He would portray, that he financially had certain things and he didn't. I learned a lot about that after the fact as well. And then there's doing things like practicing medicine. He would perform chiropractic adjustments on people, which is extremely dangerous. And
illegal.
And illegal.
Super illegal. Yeah.
Right? So the grandiosity of these things, and he did harm people. So not just from an emotional standpoint, but doing those chiropractic adjustments.
So this person was a fraud, a criminal, all of these different things. But your significant other in a household with that in a lot of ways was your family.
Yeah.
How do you go home and talk to him about it? He denies it. But stacks of evidence. It's hard to deny. So what do you do going forward?
So I showed him the evidence the next morning, and basically I never allowed him back. For me, I realized I had lost so much of myself. I had been violated in so many ways, right? Emotionally, psychologically, my physical space. Even just, the negligence of the potential medical, physical things that could have happened to me too. Luckily, I came away unscathed in that department. But I basically wanted to reclaim my space, so I never let him back in my home. I packed up all of his things with a couple of friends and then arranged for him to come and pick them up. The beautiful thing is, speaking of family, we have sort of formed a modern family. I'm still very close with those kids.
Okay.
And their mom. So we call ourselves a modern family. We spend holidays together. We go on vacations together. We spend time together just this past week. So
they were all dupes too.
Yes.
Coming up next, it was a truly painful story. So why share it?
There's comfort in that, shared vulnerability. Like, oh my gosh, if she went through this, then I can maybe open up and talk about what I went through, and processing that and going through the healing process is really powerful.
And I said that your life is largely a movie. It's very important we tell the story because that story is kind of the journey to where you are now. So that happens to you. And I would imagine, and you have now experienced, that this type of thing, maybe not this, but toxic relationships and what have you, happen to more people than we would think. Why share it? Why did you decide coming out of all of this, I'm going to write this book, I'm going to be a life coach, I'm going to bare my soul in an attempt, I guess, to help other people?
It was obviously very cathartic. And then I decided, and a lot of authors do this when they decide to share their book, and I always encourage people to not have this mentality, but this is the mentality I had originally. If I can just help one person, right?
Okay.
If I can just help one person navigate their journey. And then you realize, wow, when people do start reading it and they feel seen and they feel vulnerable, like you said, even if their story is eerily similar or very different, that going through a difficult time, that kind of traumatic experience that so many people do endure, I wanted to help them open that door.
Have you? This set your life pattern. We got millions of people who are now, and that was this book. We now actually are on this book right now, and a podcast and TED Talks. And was this something that you had to go through to kind of find your journey, your place? Because that it feels like that has now become your path.
Absolutely. I'll never go so far as to thank him, Bill, but
Nah.
but I do say that I did need to go through this to really because I was so out of alignment with myself and who I am. Okay. My biggest pattern that I realized was I picked this relationship because it was familiar to me, and there is comfort in familiarity even if it's bad. So I grew up in a household with similar behaviors and patterns. And so it was familiar to me. And I realized that I was over-functioning. I was trying to be everything to everybody. I had the job. I made sure the house was clean. I did the grocery shopping. I did school drop-off and pickup. I made sure the lawn was mowed. I, paid all the bills. I, managed everything, tried to maintain friendships, kept a rigid workout schedule. I was being everything to everybody except for to myself.
Are you surprised how many people your story resonates with?
In some ways, yes. And again, because I think people can apply it to different types of stories. And so I think there's comfort in that, shared vulnerability. Like, oh my gosh, if she went through this, then I can maybe open up and talk about what I went through, and processing that and going through the healing process is really powerful.
So that was, you're my favorite, we talked about. What led to Unsubscribe? And Unsubscribe is not just a book. It's again, podcast, almost a movement. But what led to Unsubscribe?
It really has became such a powerful concept that I wished I had when I was going through that. And so that's kind of what I built this on in the foundation. And it's the primary thing I do speaking engagements on.
So what are we going to see in Unsubscribe? Why letting go is the secret to getting ahead?
So you'll kind of go on a little journey. I do share little bits and pieces about like where I was at that point in my life, but you're going to get the whole filter. So you're going to get, I call it a filter to reclaim time, energy, and boundaries in work and life.
You're doing the motivational speaking, you're helping different people, you want this to be bigger. Is that how you see your path forward? Or was this just, all right, catharsis, at some point I'm over it, my life is good, Chad's in the rearview mirror, now I continue on? Or is this an ongoing journey?
No, this is an ongoing journey. This is my purpose. This is absolutely my purpose. I am more in alignment with myself than I've ever been. And the way that people come up to me at speaking engagements, it's actually the best part of it. When they come up and they're like, this is what resonated for me, or this is what I took away. And they bring things to me that I never even imagined from my own work that I created. And that's really powerful.
Next, it's a story by a woman, largely for women. But guys, we can learn from it as well. What do you hope men get from it?
I think there's a real opportunity for men right now to redefine male roles.
Who's this for?
It's really for everybody. But anybody that's ever felt in that space of feeling overwhelmed, over-functioning, stretched too thin, right? Like we've lived in this hustle culture, right, of being busy and people like wearing their busyness like a badge of honor. But I want to put a different, hot take. I want us to get rid of that. Like it's not, like that is not what defines success.
But who's us? Like, is that more is this a women thing, that women need to have this opportunity to be okay with themselves and understand it's all right? Is it men need to be learning something from this also? All the above?
It's genderless. Really, it's genderless. The concept is genderless. In fact, one of my friends, I call him my Gail. He was like, why is Amazon pushing this to women? This is for everybody. It's for men too. So it is for everyone. It's for leaders, high achievers, right? People that want to be successful, or that feel like they look like they're successful on the outside, but they're tired on the inside or feel misaligned.
It's interesting having the discussion, and I feel like when you have it, particularly from a male perspective, I'm listening to you tell the story, and a lot of it is, like I didn't know that somebody would feel like they were shouldering that much of the responsibility. And so part of me wonders how much of this really is for men. Like, what do you hope we'll talk about what women should get from it. What do you hope men get from it?
I think there's a real opportunity for men right now to redefine male roles, right? Male roles, what they take on. I think I'm seeing a lot of more vulnerability in males and that actually making them better leaders, more approachable. And I hope that's some of what they get out of this.
Coming up, Ginny Priem shares why what we tend to believe about people in toxic relationships, it may not be true.
People think, oh, well, they target weak people. That's not the case. They will target empathetic people. They will target successful people because they can ride on their coattails.
Your Chad scenario, like if you know something is going on, you know somebody's in this bad relationship, like your friends and family oftentimes know before you do. But it's hard to tell that person, because a lot of times that person will cut you off before they cut off the other person. What made you, was it just the overwhelming evidence? Like you were receptive to hearing this, and the stories you heard about Chad were like, come on, I'm not really going to believe. That's crazy. Like if somebody told me that, I wouldn't want to believe it. They just came with stacks of evidence, and that's what made you do it? Like, how did you accept that?
I think how I accepted it is my body had been screaming at me that something was wrong.
It was wrong, right.
My body knew before my mind. So right before, about a month before, I had abnormal skin cancer lesions removed. My hair all broke off and fell out. And then I got shingles on my face in my 30s. Really? And to me, that was, and when I went to the doctor, she said, are you under an extreme amount of stress? We had just gotten back from a 10-day trip to Italy. And I know you're going to ask the question, so yes, Bill, I paid for everything. We just got back from this trip, but I had suspected some things. Like I think my body was screaming at me going, Ginny, something is wrong, wake up. Because it is not normal to get shingles in your 30s.
Well, but it's also not, I sound really judgmental. Maybe it is normal. For somebody who's so accomplished and doing things and okay, in their single life, or maybe it isn't, we have these conversations a lot, but to be the person who's doing that, like, why are you paying for everything for this random person who you've met? Why is this person the one? And you said you're kind of working out things yourself, but that's not who I guess anybody around you would have picked for you. Like, is it?
I don't think so, but to your point, it's a farce for us to think that people like him target weak people. They actually target people that are going to elevate their lives and make them look better because they are all about their image and status. So I was a perfect host for him, right, because I made his life better and his kids' life better. And so, like, people think, oh, well, they target weak people. That's not the case. They will target empathetic people. They will target successful people because they can ride on their coattails. So I don't think anybody, now knowing what we know about him, I don't think anybody would pick him for anybody.
What's next for you? Like, we started off kind of half joking, but not so much, about this whole story really is a movie. Is that what's next? Is it continuing to build the podcast to even more millions? I
think a movie would be really fun. It would be venturing into, an area that I've never explored before, but it sounds awesome. Unsubscribe is just getting started.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited. This, you are literally at the birth stage of Unsubscribe right along with me, and thank you for that. And so I think it's going to build from there. But yes, again, I'd love to grow the podcast and continue on this path.
This show, the basis of The Pulse is the concept of use your voice for good. You've been talking about that most of the time that we've been sitting here, but we ask everybody that same final question. And what does that mean to you? Use your voice for good.
I think for me, when it all boils down to my work with Unsubscribe, putting my book out, and actually I put You're My Favorite out when I was still in corporate, so I didn't really know what that looked like at that point. But I think for me, the doing good part, using my voice for good, is making sure people know that they're not alone.
Guys, thanks so much for watching today's episode of The Pulse with Ginny Priem, kind of a lead-in to Women's History Month, focusing on empowerment and awareness, all of the things that we will be focusing on as we head into March. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. You can download the completely unedited version of the podcast, all places where podcasts are available. You can download all of our more than 160 episodes on the Fox Local app. Thank you so much for watching, and I leave you as I always do, reminding you whenever you can, use your voice for good and have a good one.